We're live! Jinx! Oh my God. Welcome everyone to Game On Wisconsin Happy Hour, the very first event of anything that we're going to do in this amazing site with all these amazing people. And I'm so happy to be here with my girl, Maggie.
I know, this is the first time everybody's like seeing us in this kind of environment. It's kind of weird.
Do our voices match our faces? I don't know. Everyone gets to see all my hand motions now.
Yes.
I know you love that.
You shoot the guns quite a bit.
I also make frowny and happy faces when I like what Maggie's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our introduction.
What do you want to talk about today, Perri? We have alcohol, we have the Packers, we have an hour, we have people in the chat.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. What are we drinking? I am drinking a Sweetwater 420 Pale Ale. It's my favorite beer. Maggie's trying something new today.
I have Liftbridge, and Perri was really smart. She put me onto this, right? So you have your show beer, and then so you don't have to get up within the hour, you have your tucked away beer that nobody can see, so you can just do the sleight of hand.
Actually, this is Clay's beer. So this beer's for Clay.
Okay,
sorry. All right. So you want to give a little background on Game On, since this is like the first introduction to...
Yeah. So Game On Wisconsin was founded by the bros Jacob Westendorf, Jason Perrone, Paul Bretl, and Jeremy Vanderlinden. And basically, to my knowledge, how it came about was they wanted to do something that was a little more video heavy than what's kind of been out there in the past. A lot of really good Packer sites, not trying to duplicate anything. We just want to be part of the scene. And obviously you hear us talking quite a bit about all the different projects that we're a part of. So this is just in addition to that. It's just something fun that we're doing. We heard a rumor that if the Twitter account Game On WI gets 1,000 followers within the week, there will be some permanent additions to the bodies of some of the writers. So if you want to see them do that, go ahead and give them a follow on Twitter. But yeah, so Game On Wisconsin is brand new. I personally really like that it abbreviates to Go Wisconsin, because I yell go a lot now. Yeah, just like in the video. That's why I have a jersey on now. Go. Yeah, yours is so much shorter than mine. But Perri, if the people don't know who you are, do you want to introduce yourself to them? And that is really cool. We have somebody here who's in the UK, and it's midnight there.
Thanks for joining us. Wow. Sure. I'm Perri. I'm the other half of the Pax What She Said podcast duo with this lady. I live in New York City, so I'm the New York to Maggie's Wisconsin, but just as much a Packers fan as everybody else. Everyone wants to know when I'm coming back to trivia. Trivia will happen this week. If you haven't tuned in, I do trivia almost every night with Aaron Nagler. So if you need some random fun facts about the Packers in the 1950s, hit me up. I also podcast about once a month with Pack a Day, as Maggie does more often than I do, about once a week. So now we're doing the live shows.
Every single week.
Every Monday.
Every Monday. Okay, so this is going to happen a lot. We'll talk about football in just a second. I'm pretty sure everybody knows who I am. I'm pretty sure everybody knew who Perri was, but this feels like something we have to do. I write for Cheesehead TV, also podcast with Pack a Day, and now Jacob can finally stop teasing that there's a happy hour coming on Pack a Day, because the happy hour is here. So today we thought that we would get started talking about training camp, because of course nothing can go smoothly in the NFL, as we've learned repeatedly throughout the offseason. So rookie minicamp was supposed to start tomorrow, and naturally the news has come out now that will not be the case. The rookies will not be coming to Lambeau as of tomorrow. So we had this whole thing planned for y'all, and now we're just going to talk about why it's not going to be a thing, because the NFL can't get their shit together. So Perri Goldstein, what are your initial thoughts on the announcement and kind of what that looks like?
I'm kind of glad the Packers postponed it. I think, it's early. We still have time. I'd rather have our rookies be safe, right? Like, it's not like they're missing anything. What's 1-2 more days? I think the NFL still has a lot to figure out. They haven't I talked about this yesterday, actually, or this morning. The podcast came out with Andy on Pack-A-Day, where there's just like a foundation that the NFL just hasn't really figured out yet. They don't even know if they're going to be testing every day, every week. Like there's just some basic things they haven't figured out. And for player safety, I'd rather just postpone it. I know there was an exec meeting today. I think it was at 2 Eastern time. So hopefully they figure things out. Mark Murphy can go back to the team and say, here's what our plan is. Maybe rookies can come in Thursday, right? So I think all vets, everyone's supposed to report by the 28th. So we have some time, but I hope they figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I think the really interesting thing in all of this is like, we're seeing how these plans are laid out in other sports and it's still not fully working. Like the NBA is kind of, everybody's in a bubble down in Florida, but even, a player crosses the boundary of the hotel and then has to quarantine for 2 weeks. And then there's players that can't meet up with the team yet because before they flew down, they tested positive and you need a certain number of negative testing. So just kind of figuring out what that looks like, especially in the NFL where, you have JC Tretter, the NFLPA president, saying like, guys breathe on me literally every play, every practice. It's constant. Like, how do you protect yourself and your family when you're constantly in somebody else's face? And I think that's kind of the big thing that the NFL has yet to figure out.
It's the most contact of all the contact sports. I mean, they literally grunt, sweat. I heard they pee in those. Like, they gotta figure it out for the players' safety and family. And I mean, I know the players all want to play, but as it always ends up coming back to money, right? Like what are their contracts going to look like if they miss it? You and I have talked about this before. Like what if a player tests positive? Do they go on IR? Can they be brought back from IR? How long do they are they out? Are they paid while they're out? Like there's just a lot of details that the NFL could have figured out a long time ago that they waited till the very last hour to do, which is disheartening, but also not that surprising. But hopefully now with camp sort of looming over them, they get it together.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of comments too that are talking about how the NFL did decide that they would be testing at least every day initially, which we did hear, that is the case, but it's still just, I feel like there's not a plan in place for what happens beyond the testing. Like, okay, you test positive, and then I know you have to quarantine until you get a certain number of negative tests, but what does that look like for the rest of the team? How do you contact trace when there are 90 of you in a confined space? The contact tracing is there, like you're in training camp. It was the Don Hudson Center. There's your contact. I guess I'm waiting to kind of see what that looks like, especially for, your really high end players. We've talked about this on podcasts before and on Twitter. Just what does it look like from a competitive advantage standpoint if you have a player like Aaron Rodgers who has to quarantine for 3 weeks and wait for those negative tests to come in, or a JJ Watt or a David Bakhtiari or a Tom Brady? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense at this point. And I think that's kind of actually a really good segue to talk about training camp, because you have guys like Jordan Love and Tim Boyle that you have to get ready any year for those same occasions. But now, especially this year, the backup roles kind of find themselves elevated in case those situations do crop up. Yeah.
So do you think they're going to have 3 QBs?
I do. I know that we tease Peter Bukowski on Twitter about this because a lot of people think that the backup quarterback position is worthless, and I get it. I mean, we saw what happened with Brett Hundley, and while he kept the Packers in contention-ish when Aaron Rodgers was gone, most of the time, ish is the nicest way I could put it.
That was so diplomatic and nice.
I am America's sweetheart for a reason. But a lot of the times when you have those like bridge quarterbacks, we've said it before, Nick Foles is the exception, not the norm. So anytime you think that you can have a backup just come in and take the reins and everything transitions smoothly, I don't really think that's the case. And I know Andy Herman was in the chat at least, so we have to say that Tim Boyle Laser Show is going to just completely light it up, which very well could happen. But I do think that for sure Boyle and Jordan Love will both be on the roster, even without the preseason.
Yeah.
Just because you're going to need some type of contingency insurance.
Definitely. You need like a backup plan to your backup plan in these times. Haha, backup. So let's say the NFL gets their ish together. Training camp starts next week. Like what what are you most excited to see?
Well, you kind of talked about this on the show a little bit with Andy, but I went to training camp for the first time ever last season, and it was an environment unlike anything that I had ever been a part of. Like getting to sit in the first row of the bleachers and just watch everything happen is really exciting, and it's something that you can't really describe to people. So I got really sunburnt, and I had to wear skirts to work for a whole week, and it was awful. But beyond that, learned like getting to focus in. I tweeted actually a picture last season of Aaron Rodgers coaching up Darnell Savage on the sideline. So just like those little glimpses that you don't really think about or realize are happening unless you're there watching it in person. But honestly, I think that I'm like the most excited for the inside linebacker position, because I was high on the Christian Kirksey train, wanting him to come to Green Bay. He got in right before, the pandemic kind of erupted all at once.
Yeah.
And then now just figuring out, is this going to be the year Oren Burks takes a leap? We kind of expect that every year, and it doesn't happen. I got to talk to Ty Summers for Pack-A-Day, and he said that he's been doing a lot of cross-training, trying to make sure that the skill set he brings is unique compared to some of the other guys in the room. The Packers drafted Kamal Martin. Curtis Bolton looked really good. So to me, that's going to be one of my prime positions to watch. But how about you?
I have two. I want to see how my guy Rashawn Gary looks, because he's like really slimmed down, right? He looks super speedy. He's been training like crazy up here. So I think, and we didn't actually, I feel bad I didn't mention him yesterday as like someone who I think is going to break out, but I'm really excited for him. Super hype on the Rashawn Gary train. If you follow me at all, you know that. And Jordan Love, obviously. I mean, there's been all this hype, all this anticipation. Everyone's like, what the heck is going to happen between Rodgers and Love? And is Love going to be good? And, like, is he a bust and all this stuff? Like, let's see it. Let's see it on the field. I want to see how he looks. I know he's been training a little bit with Aj Dillon, so that sort of chemistry will be interesting to see. I am all about watching the Jordan Love show.
Yeah, if you follow Perri on Twitter, you know that she's the conductor of a number of hype trains. There's the Equinemius St. Brown hype train. There's the Jair Alexander hype train. There's the Kevin King hype train, the Jamaal Williams hype train.
I basically love cornerbacks. If there's one thing you should know about me, it's my favorite position is the cornerback. So, yeah.
Spoiler alert for Pax, what she said.
Shoot. I mean, all my favorite players. Charles Woodson, I guess he was, some people call him a safety. Okay, fine. But
he's a DB.
He's a DB, right? He's amazing. And Tremont, I love Tremont. Bring back Tremont. I say it every time. And Jair. Sullivan hype train. Yeah, Sullivan hype train. Exactly. Tandem Sullivan. Let's go. I think he's going to make an impact, right? So, and there's some more like fringe players, of course, that, we're not sure what their future looks like, right? Like Jake Kumaro, the wide receiver room. I know that everyone's we didn't draft wide receiver, but our wide receiver room's pretty stacked right now. Maybe it's not with that first round pick that everybody hoped for, but we have like 8 or 9 on the 90-man roster right now. And obviously there's going to be cuts. So like what's going to happen with Jake Kumaro? How is Equinemius St. Brown going to look after being on IR for a year? I mean, I know that his dad has been training them to be NFL players since they were children, so I'm sure he's going to bounce back. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what that group looks like, and of course, everyone's going to have to be second behind 17.
I like that.
Monroe is gone.
Well, I was going to say, okay, so we're not going to do any more chugging bets because you didn't like doing that. But if I enjoyed it. I just got made fun of on the internet for it, so I'm not doing it again. Yeah, that was like, they were like, hey, do you and Perri want to do a live show? And we were like, I don't know, are people going to make gifts of us and be mean to us? Because if the answer is yes, then no, we're not doing it. But if people will be nice to us, then yes, of course we'll do it. So I guess we'll see how long happy hour lasts. If all y'all go make gifts of us and are mean to us, then this is your one. Then y'all are one and done. That's it. All right. But if we had to make a bet,
okay,
like any kind of bet, Jake Kumaro on the 53-man roster out of training camp, yes or no?
Safely, no.
That wasn't the bet. It was just yes or no.
No.
Okay. Then we're on the same page there. Yeah.
Okay. Classic. See, that's why we can't make bets, because we agree on everything.
Yeah. Let's see.
The only reason the last one worked is because we just chose in the draft and left it up to fate.
I mean, I put a lot of work into mine, so I feel like
petition to draft EQ's brother in round 1. I'm all for it. Apparently, he's a stud at USC. So, yeah, they have the coolest names too.
Obviously, that's why I was a big fan of Geronimo Allison, and look how that turned out. So you are about to have your heart broken.
This is what Aaron thinks about Jake Kumaro. So here we are.
I mean, Aaron, don't put that into the universe. We've seen Packers Twitter burn for a lot less. So yeah. All right. There was a question that we missed. Let's see. Somebody asked about, here, Zadarius Smith. He's going to lead the team in sacks, and I don't know, might set a new record.
Yeah. He's going to go off. Especially
now that Rashawn Gary is going to take another jump. You have Kenny Clark, Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary. You know, you just get a little bit more penetration from the inside linebacker position, because I know Blake Martinez was kind of like see ball, get ball. If you just get a little more blitzing out of your inside linebackers, that front seven is going to be dominant, and Zadarius Smith can go anywhere he wants in the front seven. He can even drop into coverage. It is going to be good night, and I will light this candle for every sack that he has in 2020.
There's the bet. There we go.
I mean, I'm going to light it
a bet? Yeah. Well, don't waste it.
It's full still.
Okay.
See, nobody's.
All right.
I got it after this season.
A ceremonious light for every sack. So you're saying you're going to be lighting that like 15 times this season?
I'm going to accidentally burn my house down. But it's the bet is will the fire department come?
Sorry, Mark. Someone said Zadarius Smith is going to go down as a signing of the decade. I feel that. Like, everyone was confused about it. They were like, Preston, Zadarius Smith, like, who are these guys? They gave them so much money. Bargain. Zadarius Smith's contract is now officially a bargain.
If Zadarius Smith doesn't retire in Green Bay and go down as one of the best free agent signings of all time, I will roll into a ball, roll into the street, and then cry.
I think he will.
I think he will too.
Yeah, I think he has the potential to be one of the greatest of all time in Packers history, I think.
All right. So there's before every game, I'll light it on Twitter. I'll go on Periscope, and we can all just read the ode to Zadarius and just, do one of these.
Okay, but think about it. Like, he's been snubbed. He was snubbed last season. He was been snubbed all offseason except for one writer, and I'm blanking on his name. Doug.
Sure.
Yes. Finally gave him the recognition that he deserves. But like, think about every time last season, he didn't make a list or he didn't make the Pro Bowl. Like, think about what he did after those games. Like, imagine that for the whole season. He's got something to prove. Somehow, even after 13 and a half sacks and like a bajillion quarterback hits, he still has something to prove, apparently.
I also think Preston Smith will have a better season, because I think that the two of them, their dynamic works so well where you never know where the pressure's coming. So if Zadarius kind of goes inside off the center, then maybe Preston gets him off the edge. If you have Rashawn Gary coming over, the guard, then, Z and P can kind of combine. You have Kenny. Like, the dynamic in this front seven, Z and P. I know, Uncle Z and Uncle P.
They're so versatile.
Yes, this whole front seven, it kind of like harkens back to the 2010, 2011 defense. And it feels like blasphemous to say that, because I think we're just kind of always looking to go back and like find that next defense. But I really think that this is like, we talked about it almost all season, where even when the offense couldn't create any of that consistency, you felt like the defense could go get you a 3-and-out, and then you could get the offense another try. Yeah,
or a turnover. Like, we were pretty high in turnover differential, and that giving Aaron a short field, like, that's game changing for us. Like, you give imagine like an interception in the other team's territory. Aaron Rodgers has the ball. I mean, please, it's a touchdown.
And you have Mason Crosby locked in. Like, see, and I think like part of it too is just we haven't seen the full picture of what this Packers team is yet. A lot of the pieces stayed consistent, but now we talked about it a lot, and I know that the draft is still kind of an enigma for not a lot of people, but like Matt LaFleur had some very specific pieces that he wanted to make his offense run. Like, you looked at where they struggled. It was 3rd and longs. It was sustaining drives. And if you can put just a couple more of those pieces together, you give Aaron a little bit more protection. You give him another weapon. We're expecting big things out of Jay Sternberger. Josiah deguara is so versatile. Aj Dillon is so versatile. I personally am the conductor of the Aj Dillon hype train.
You are.
So if you put all those things together, we talk about how it's possible to be a better team with a worse record. And I think that that's without a doubt what this 2020 Packers team is going to look like. They're going to be more consistent. I think that they will close out games a lot sooner. And I think that there's just going to be this overwhelming sense of like, we're getting closer for this team.
Yeah. I mean, our schedule's tough. Like there's no doubt about that. Our schedule's tough. So to expect to go 13-3, I think is a little too high expectations. I mean, not that I expected to go 13-3 last season, but you're right. I mean, we can be a better team. And I think I talked about this a little bit last night with Andy is like, and I mean, you know this, but I've been rewatching. I watched the 2010 season. And then I'm almost at the end of the 2011 season right now. And the biggest thing that I've noticed is that the defense shut people down consistently. They played complete 4 quarters, as Matt LaFleur would say. They played all the way through the fourth quarter. They played in the fourth quarter, even if they were up 31-7, like they were behind, and they didn't let anything slide. And I think like we have the potential to do that, but we let teams hang around a little bit last season. And like the Cowboys game, like we were winning 31-3, but in the fourth quarter, I'm like standing up in my room, like pacing around my room, like, are we really about to blow this lead? So I think that level of like clutchness and completion of games is going to be the difference. And we have all the tools, like you said, our front seven and our secondary. Jair and Kevin King have the potential to be one of the best duos in the league.
If you just want to lean back really quick, everyone can also remember that the shirt you're wearing came from that Cowboys game. So that just, a lot of good came out of that game. See, these are the hand motions that we talk about that nobody else gets to see when we record. What you said.
All right, we have some questions.
All right. Easy peasy. I like that, Kevin. That's amazing. That's what I'm going to start calling ZMP forever. Let's see. Who's an under-the-radar player that can make some noise this summer and into the season? Perri, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Raven Green, baby.
You
Seriously.
just have that locked and loaded.
I did. I'm a big fan because, he got hurt. But, like, we don't really have, I think, in my opinion, like, a true sort of hybrid box safety linebacker, and he is that. And I think Pettine can use him in a lot of ways. I think he'd be really, really impactful. And especially if our like true inside linebackers like Burks and Summers, let's say, unfortunately, they just don't cut it, right? Like we have Christian Kirksey and we can put Raven Green in there. So that's my pick. Chandon Sullivan. Someone said Chandon Sullivan. I completely agree with Chandon Sullivan too, because now Tremon's spot and that slot guy, that nickel guy is up for grabs. And so I think Jerry Gray said, right, like they were going to try to see if Jair could fit in there or maybe Kevin, like they all are sort of vying for that spot. But I think, Chandon Sullivan has a really great chance of taking those snaps. I mean, personally, I kind of hope Josh Jackson does that because then we didn't waste a second round pick. But I mean, I'm not super hopeful. What do you think?
See, I was going to pick defense, but because you picked someone on defense, I thought I would flip it. And I don't know if this really counts as under the radar, but as a rookie, I really get Elton Jenkins vibes from Jon Runyan Jr. Like, I think that he can come in and just push immediately in training camp. And okay. I don't think he's going to be like the next David Bakhtiari. Like, I don't think that means they're not going to re-sign Bach, but I think that he's going to push for potentially starting at right guard. I think he might have... I know he's best on the interior, but I think he might be able to play a little bit of right tackle. So
that's your answer to Tyler's question? Under the radar rookie or second year player, Jon Runyan?
Sure. I didn't even read that, but yeah, I already did it. So your turn. Go.
I was like, oh, she's already answering Tyler's question. She doesn't even know it. Under the radar rookie. I mean, I think the only rookie that's going to make a serious impact is going to be Aj Dillon. Just because the rest of them, I think the learning curve is going to be pretty real. Maybe Jonathan Garvin. I think Spider could be on there just as like a rotational guy. Mine as Kingsley Keke. I know we talk about him all the time on the podcast, but just like a little bit more playing time and doing what he did when he was on the field, because it was very limited last season, like doing what he did in more snaps will just relieve Kenny Clark of so much that he does. And I think, I mean, our front seven is already amazing. Imagine if one of those defensive linemen takes even a little bit, a mini leap, like give it to me.
So that was very demanding. All right. But no, okay. So let's take another, if you had to make a bet, Montravius Adams, is he on the 53, yes or no?
No.
Okay, same.
I feel very strongly about that, actually.
Because that's why we're not supposed to do shows together.
Because we agree.
Where is our versatility and diversity of opinions?
Oh, but it's endearing that we agree. I'm just making that up.
All right, let's see. Hoping Pettin's able to make in-game adjustments. Yes. And that's one of the things I really liked about Matt LaFleur's offense is I always felt like he really took into consideration what had happened in the first half. And we know that he was really good at scripting plays. Like those first 15 plays, he was almost always lights out the entire season. So the fact that he was able to make adjustments, definitely something that I do want to see more from in Mike Pettin's defense. Let's see. Who grabs the number 2 role?
Oh, baby, it's Allen Lazard all the way. Come on. What kind of question is that? Just kidding. Thank you, Jeremy.
He is officially never watching again, and he's one of the owners. So good job, Perri.
Oh,
you bully.
I'm only teasing because I know him. No, but seriously, I mean, it's got to be Lazard. I say that because I actually genuinely believe that he brought something to the table last season that we were lacking, and that he is hungry and he's going to want to come in and just pick up right where he left off. And I think the chemistry he had with Rodgers is not something that gets created very easily. And he did that. And we know that that's important for Rodgers.
Yeah. And I mean, I know we've talked about like what a kind of condensed off-season program looks like and just how some of that differs now with maybe a limited training camp. But the fact that Allen Lazard was already fully on the same page with Rodgers, and Rodgers was like going to bat for him as early as the Lions game, saying, get him in here.
On third downs.
Right. And that's where this offense needed some help. So I think that definitely says a lot. And I'm really, really curious to see kind of what happens with Devin Funchess. And I think he's got all the potential in the world, assuming he starts catching the ball. And if he can get on the same page with Rodgers, you know, he is another second-round talent. Drafted even higher than Davante Adams was. So just
that's crazy.
It really is. But the potential is there. I just want to see him put it together. And I think this will be his best opportunity to do that.
I agree with you. All right. Expectations for we clicked at the same time. Okay. Growing pains. It's okay. Expectations for MVS?
Let's see. I think he'll make the roster, but we talk a lot about him not wanting to get to one note. And I think that that's kind of what we're worried about. Like his best plays of the season are Rodgers got him the jump. He's going deep. It's either a touchdown or an incompletion because they're not on the same page, but he's basically just running 50 yards and we'll see what happens. So he had that really nice play against the Raiders when he wasn't even fully healthy, the really nice touchdown. But I think that he just definitely needs to get on the same page with Rodgers and get a little bit more consistency. And, you know, Rodgers and LaFleur have both said that they expect him to take that jump. I think he will, but it's hard to get a sense if there's like true confidence in him as a receiver or if it's really just, you don't want to be the one guy in the locker room that Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur aren't giving any credit to. So I think he knows what he needs to do, and I think the talent is definitely there, but this is his make or break year. Like, he has to put it together this year.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't given up on him yet, right? Like, I think Davante Adams is the perfect, and then they're very different players, but I'm just saying, like, I think he's the perfect example of, like, let them grow into the role that is going to fit. And Matt LaFleur has said, like, they want more explosive plays. Like, they didn't do that well last season. And so, like, I mean, MVS is the perfect candidate to take those on.
Okay, so this is for you because you're the conductor of the EQ hype train.
Yeah, hell yeah.
What are your thoughts now then, EQ over Devin Funchess from the top 3 wide receivers?
I mean, it's tough. Like, they both didn't have a season last year. So you're going off of 2 seasons ago. Funchess was with a different team. I always liked what Funchess did in Carolina. Like, I think that he was a nice piece there. And I see him fitting well. Again, it's all about whether he has a connection with Rodgers. I think for me, EQ and Rodgers had a great connection. I actually thought that rookie season, I thought EQ produced much better than the other rookie receivers. MVS is pretty much the only one that's still on the team. And so, sorry, Jamaal Moore. And so I just think that he has a little bit of a leg up in that regard. But again, he was out. Is he healthy? I think he is probably at this point. I thought his injury was a little lame to be put on IR for the whole season. So we'll see. But I think I agree. I think it's EQ just because he has that extra year.
Yeah, I'm with you. And my mom just texted me and said that she's watching the show, which is adorable. Hi, Mom.
Wow, I did not tell my dad about this, so maybe I should. I got to get the parents involved.
All right. So Nathan says, break the bank for Aaron Jones to re-sign Jamaal Williams and start Aj Dillon. We clearly know how Perri feels about this. I think that it has to be, okay, well, you put break the bank. I wouldn't break the bank for Aaron Jones, but I think if he wants to come back on a reasonable contract, I definitely think the Packers are going Aaron Jones, Aj Dillon over Jamaal Williams, Aj Dillon, as much as it pains me to say that and hurts my heart a little bit. Well,
they're just different. I think Jamaal and Aj Dillon are similar players in the sense where Aaron Jones just brings a totally different skill set. And I mean, Aaron Jones is our running back one, right? Like if we're going to pay one of them, it's obvious it's going to be him. And, if anyone's listened to some of the interviews he's done recently, like he said his agents are in talks with the Packers, and it's pretty rare, I think, for a player to outwardly say that and a deal not get done. So I think it's going to be something I feel like I've said this before, but I would really love a sort of, why am I blanking? See, this always happens on the podcast and we can edit it out. Chargers.
She goes, you're cutting this, right? Austin Eckler, is that what you're going to say?
Yes. An Austin Eckler, you read my mind. An Austin Eckler contract. I mean, I think Jones probably deserves a little bit more money. But that's the sort of range that I feel like they'd be comfortable with. Okay, we have so many questions, Maggie. This is amazing.
This is exciting.
Guys, I was not expecting this many people to join.
We thought we were going to be talking to my cat for the whole show.
Is she still here with you?
Yeah, she's under my chair.
Whoa. Okay.
I almost also just drank my candle instead of my beer, so that might happen.
All right, I'm going to let you answer this one.
All right. I don't know. I just really think that Aj Dillon offers this dynamic that the Packers don't necessarily have yet. I think of Aj Dillon, see, you got me calling Aaron Jones AJ now.
I know.
And I never used to. And then we started podcasting, but it is. I think of Aaron Jones, he's quick, he's versatile. He's really nice for an outside zone running scheme. Jamaal Williams, I will go to bat for him forever as a pass catching back. We've seen the work he's doing to improve that skill even further. So I think that there's a lot to like there. The two of them offer a really unique dynamic, but Aj Dillon is the bruiser, and I know that he has the potential to be more than just a bruiser. But, we look at guys like Ahman Green and Eddie Lacy and how, some of their best games were in the snow. And the thought of a big Aj Dillon at Lambeau in December is just – Does that make you excited?
Yeah, imagine a safety trying to tackle him in the open field. I mean, my God, he's just going to stiff arm him.
Kind of like your shirt, or he'll just wave when he gets the outside edge. Yeah. No, I'm really excited about him. And, I've seen him, we've all seen him come to Derrick Henry, and obviously it's too premature to say that, but knowing what Matt LaFleur did with Derrick Henry in the Titans offense, to have his own larger back like that, in addition to the versatile Aaron Jones, there's a lot to like there, and kind of how he can switch up what he does on offense.
Yeah. I mean, we're huge fans. And if you don't know, he was Maggie's draft crush. And so when a draft crush comes to your team, it's you have to root for them, obviously. So, yeah.
So it can't be bad.
Yeah. And I mean, all I think about when I think of Aj Dillon now is that photo of him, just looking like Superman.
Legs for days.
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. The one where
how did I know exactly what you were doing? It was excellent.
Oh God.
That's gonna be a gift.
Oh, whatever. Okay, Tyler. What's up, Tyler?
All right, one of us has to start clicking because we're
I'll click.
All right, got it.
Great question. Maggie, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I think he takes Montrevious' spot. Honestly, I think that the front three are kind of looking like Kenny Clark, Kingsley Kiki, and possibly Trayvon Hester. And he's never going to be like the next Kenny.
What about Dean? Can't forget about Dean.
I know. Dean just plays a really interesting role on the offense, especially given the contract that he got when he did. We were all like, ooh, that seems like a lot. And then the contracts that came out this offseason, we were like, oh, that was definitely a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he'll still contribute, and it's probably better that he's not playing such a big role.
Yeah.
I still think Tyler Lancaster has a shot as like a true nose tackle. But yeah, I think Trayvon Hester is going to be one of those guys that will get rotational snaps, and I think that's where he's best. Like Kenny Clark played 84% of snaps on defense in 2019, and that felt like too many. Yeah. So I like the versatility there, and he, contributed to the double doink, so we have to love him forever for that.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I mean, I think also like Dean Lowry's interception last season was like one of my favorite moments. I just like love when that happens to guys who don't normally get those, you know what I mean? Like BJ Raji's pick 6, like that's iconic. I know. He's right behind you, right?
Yeah, he is. There he is.
Can you tell the story about when you met him for everyone, please?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I went to an autograph signing at Lambeau, and it was Eddie Lacy, James Starks, James Jones, and BJ Raji. And I brought Mark, my husband, and his role is to take photos of me talking to the players because I don't want to do it myself because I want to talk to them. He's a Browns fan, everyone. If you didn't know that, you have to know that. But that's why he doesn't mind being the photo holder.
The photo guy.
And taker, yeah. So I got to BJ Raji, and I was like, hey, you're my favorite player. Love watching you. I was wearing his jersey, and I said, can I shake your hand? And he said, yeah. And he shook my hand, and he got the biggest grin on his face, and he like giggled because my whole hand was just engulfed in his hand. Like you just couldn't see my hand anymore. And
do you have small hands? I mean, compared to his, I guess.
As like a 5'4" on a really good day person, yeah, they're pretty small. That's awesome. But I have a picture that Mark took of BJ Raji that I will put on Twitter. When the time is right, when there's a really good opportunity. It was like a candid shot, and it is my favorite picture of him of all time because he doesn't know that the camera's on him, and he's just like, and it is so adorable. So someday I'll get to see that.
That's awesome.
When the time is right.
We love BJ Raji.
We do. We stand.
We stand
a legend.
I mean, you love. Okay, wow. We have so many comments to go through. Jamaal Williams is the GOAT. All right.
That was distinct. Thanks, Big B.
All right, Big B. We don't discriminate here. We are happy to have everyone and anyone involved. We are inclusive. Order these oh, okay. All right, Tyler, I see you with these snaps played and targets. All right. Someone also, I was really far up. Where is it? Someone asked about Jace Sternberger. Ha. So numbers. So we can answer both these questions at the same time. What are Jace Sternberger's numbers going to be? And sort of snaps and targets. EQ, MVS, Lazard, Funchess, Sternberger. Wow.
All right, keep this one up because I can't remember them all.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Let's see. Played and targets. I'm feeling like it's going to be Lazard, Funchess, EQ, Sternberger, MVS.
Ooh.
And I'll say that Sternberger's numbers are like 500 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Okay. Yeah. I definitely think it's Lazard. I'm going to go EQ, Funchess, Sternberger, MVS. But I don't want to put Sternberger in here because I actually think he's going to be on the field a ton. Yeah, I don't know. You think 500?
500 yards?
Yeah. I think higher.
Do you?
I think higher. Yeah. What did Jimmy have? He had like what? 480? Something like that? Yeah. No, yeah. Way more than it was Jimmy couldn't run. Jace can at least have yards after the catch.
Yeah, but now that there's going to be additional targets on the field, like Lazard, Funchess, EQ.
Yeah. Rodgers does like to spread things out to
the snaps played and the targets make it tricky, Tyler.
Yeah. All right, Tyler. Yeah, I know we did.
So the snaps played, I think that Sternberger will probably play the most. Like he'll probably Lazard, but targets.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see them use Jace to attack the middle of the field. And I think he also can be a red zone threat. I mean, look at what he did in the NFC Championship game. It was like one of his first big games. He like just came off IR. He does like a scramble touchdown with Rodgers. Like, that's your first touchdown in the NFL in the NFC Championship game. Like, I think he has a lot of potential. And we say this a lot with guys that we're super hype about. Like, I try not to put like too high expectations, because if you do that, you're just gonna be disappointed. And I know that the tight end position, it takes one of the longest to sort of like acclimate to the NFL, but I don't know. I mean, the hype is so real for Jace. Like, it's so real. I'm just like, I can't help myself but think like, he's the next Jermichael Finley. Like, I just can't help myself. But I think he's going to be more in like the 600s for yards.
I really like this question. So the non-Davante Adams leader in targets, is it AJ Jones? AJ Jones. See, I did it again. Is it Aaron Jones or is it the field?
Or the field? What does that mean? Like throwaways?
No, that means like anybody not named Aaron Jones.
Oh, I was like, what? I mean, he was second in receiving targets last season, so I don't see why that would. I mean, we hope wide receiver.
We hope.
But he does great things in the receiving game, and I don't want that to go away if he's producing.
I mean, I think that Aaron Jones will see a decrease in snaps, but not a lot, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think that he'll play the exact number of snaps that he did, but I think that his touches will still have the same amount of value. Yeah,
we talked about this. A healthy regression is what we're calling this, because we want him to save his body, but that doesn't mean necessarily when he's on the field, his production is going to be less.
Right. I almost drank my candle again, so somebody's going to have to take this for me.
Maggie.
All right, here's a good one, too. Since we're talking about tight ends, kind of. Oh, again, it looks like he's peeking. All right. What role do you foresee for Josiah deGuara this year? That's just creepy.
I think he's going to have a pretty limited role. And the only reason I say that is because, like I just said, the tight end position is just really, there's a big, big learning curve. I think, oh, you shook your head. You agree with me or you disagree with me?
I think I was trying to get my hair out of my face.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine. I mean, I don't know. Like I think this Josiah deGuara is such a puzzle to me, because like, how is he going to be used? You know what I mean? Like, is he going to be like a Kyle Juszczyk type player? Is he going to be like a true tight end? Is he going to be blocking? Is he going to be pass catching? Like, I feel like LaFleur has all these like grand ideas for him, but like, I'm not inside his head. I don't know. But I just think in general, it'll be, don't think that he's going to have this like crazy impactful year his rookie season.
My Twitter exploded once Josiah deGuara was drafted, because I tweeted out what his numbers look like as a fullback from Math Bomb, and a former Bachelor tweeted me to tell me that those were fullback numbers. Like, it was a weird night for me. That was the most celebrity interaction I think I've ever had, was a Bachelor telling me that.
Wait.
Nick Viall.
Oh, Nick Viall. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird night. That was a weird draft. But, I mean, I think that, like, I wanted to say that I see him being a more productive Danny Vitale, but not being called the fullback. Like, yeah. I think that he'll get a lot of those wheel routes and those just really unique play action passes.
Like check.
There you go. Yeah. But, I mean, I think, we're not calling him a fullback. That's too severe. He definitely will be a tight end, whether he's in the H-back. But, however he lines up, he will have like a really gadget role, I think, in his first year. Kind of, and if you want the more traditional kind of slot role for your tight end, that would be like a Big Bob Tonyan or Jace Sternberger.
Yeah, I agree. And Tyler answered the question. So I agree with you, Tyler. Yeah, I mean, I'm genuinely intrigued about what they're going to do with Josiah deGuara. I remember when he was drafted, we were like, okay, tight end. That's interesting. Felt a little soon. But when you see LaFleur talk about him and how excited he is and how he has like all these visions for, and how they used one of his plays in film room, like it's meant to be. I feel good about it. So, jeez. And he comes from the Shanahan tree. Like, the ideas are definitely there.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, your job is to pick the comments. So I stopped clicking.
I know. All right, I'm looking. There's a lot going on here. Honestly, guys, thank you all for joining so much. Like this is so nice. I thought it was just me and Maggie talking to each other, which is fine. I love doing that. But
I was gonna say we do that all the time.
Yeah. Okay, no.
Wait,
no.
I didn't get to read it.
What do you think? What do you guys think about letting Kenny Clark leave so we can keep Bach, Lindsley, and King? I think Kenny Clark is too valuable at a too valuable position to let someone like him walk. I think, unfortunately, we have to make some really just tough decisions this next offseason, but Kenny Clark should be priority number one. He is way too impactful and way too premium. Like, we don't need him getting snatched up by the 49ers. Sorry. Like, we just don't need that.
Don't do that, Perri. Don't put that into the universe.
Kenny is, I'm so sorry. Just Kenny is a player that you build your defense around. Like, I'm sorry. He just is. So I don't think it's worth it. Do I want us to keep all of our free agents this season? Like, yeah, I feel like a very strong, weirdly strong attachment to all of them. So it's going to be difficult. But I think like him and Bakhtiari they should be the most important.
Okay. Well, because I was going to ask you this question, but I think I know your answer then because of what you said. So if you could only keep...
I don't like this question. I don't like this question.
You can keep Kenny Clark on one side, or on the other side, you can keep Corey Linsley, Kevin King, and Aaron Jones. Who do you keep and why?
That's so rude.
You monster.
Okay, wait. So it's Kenny or
Corey, Kevin, and Aaron Jones.
Okay.
You look so angry.
I hate this. All of them. I keep Kenny because you can find a running back for cheaper, and we'd have Aj Dillon. Kevin. I know that Kevin King is a really like controversial figure for some reason. Like people either love him or they hate him. I love him. I do not want the Packers to go through another like just years and years and rounds of like cornerbacks. Like we finally have a duo that we like, but you can find a quarterback. And same with Corey Linsley. We just drafted how many offensive linemen?
This feels...
Yes.
All right, Perri, you can.
But
you can
I think
Williams or no one.
Just kidding. But I think, like I said, just Kenny is just too valuable. He's too valuable.
Yeah. I mean, you and I differ on this quite a bit because I definitely see the value in Jamaal Williams. And I know that sometimes you need that mixture of young and vet presence. But I also often think about, like, we're hoping that guys like Josh Jackson take a leap finally. And if you bring Tremont back, does that hinder guys like Chandon Sullivan a little more?
I know.
But, like, you know, for the benefit of the team, you want the best players on the field. So if Tremont still is better than Josh Jackson, then yeah, you want Jamaal Williams back, and I guess you just call it a wash. But we've talked about this quite a bit about what happens with Kevin King and like what that means if he does leave, because you have Jair, and unless you get a guy like Chandon Sullivan to take a huge leap, which is possible, he could be your nickel for a long time, but unless those things are pretty sure before you head into the offseason, it's kind of hard to just give up Kevin King, knowing that you're not really aware of what the rest of that room looks like.
He's going to be just really expensive, I think, and he's going to end up being more expensive than we want to give him. You know, like cornerbacks get paid so much money, and he's a solid guy, and he had 5 interceptions last season. Like he's going to get paid, and like it's just a matter of if the Packers are willing to give him what he can get in the open market. I mean, I do think we have good depth there. Like we have Chandon Sullivan, and we have Kadar Holman and Josh Jackson if he can do anything. And so I think, sorry, I really hate
so negative.
Him.
That was so
really
negative.
Hate on him. Okay, but come on. I mean, a second round pick, he hasn't even like seen the field besides special teams. Like, pick it up. I'm rooting for you.
Rooting for him.
But the depth is there, right? And so, I mean, I understand your point when it comes to Jamaal Williams. I do. Like, I understand that he takes snaps away from guys we want to take leaps, but just like he still plays at such a high level. Like, how do you let someone like that go? And like, he's a leader. He's a locker room presence. He's so smart. Not to say that you want to keep a player that's like this hybrid sort of coach, right? Like, that's not why you keep someone on your 53-man roster, but like, he is so impactful in that locker room. So Tyler, to answer your question, what's the one veteran free agent move that I bring in? I bring Tremont back. It's going to be so cheap. You get him on a vet minimum at this point. He finished his career in Green Bay, tie a bow, win another Super Bowl this season, one a decade apart. He gets to retire, put him in the Hall of Fame. The Packers Hall of Fame.
That went like, whew.
The Packers Hall of Fame. But you know what I mean? Like, okay. After watching, yeah.
Do you feel better? You feel better?
I just feel like but for real, after watching the 2010 and 2011 seasons, like, his skill set has not dropped off that much. And it's been 10 years. Like, that's a special player. But you know, it all depends. And I think, and Andy mentioned this last night too, like, let's say someone gets hurt and he's still on the market, go pick him up, right? Like, he hasn't been picked up yet for whatever reason. All the 31 other teams are dumb. And
Perri, how many beers have you had in this moment?
I've only had one. I just really love Jamaal Williams. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I appreciate it.
I'm not drunk. No, but I mean, okay.
Perri doesn't get drunk. She has fun. It's from Bob's Burgers. I'm sorry.
Okay, but yeah, I'm a little animated right now, but I
get
true. Like, he's a very solid cornerback and a very smart guy and a great locker room presence. And I think the fact that no one has picked him up is a bad move. Great for the Packers.
I think that kind of ties into, I think it was Jeremy. I lost it. I'm really bad at managing the chat.
It's somebody really hard.
If you could bring in one free agent still on the street, who would it be? And Kevin Tompkins actually took mine. He said Tim Jernigan. I think another body on the D-line. I know Snacks Harrison is a really popular choice. Would yours, like, honestly be Jamaal Williams, or would it be somebody else? Thinking about the roster as a whole and not necessarily your love.
No, it would probably be a defensive lineman. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, you get it. You know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a realist.
Your heart is just full. Your heart is just full.
I just, I just think about, like, why let go of players if they're still playing at a really high level and can contribute.
Oh, that cracked really loud.
And you don't have to pay them a ton. But I mean, I agree with you. I think the defensive line is something that we need to definitely shore up. So, Jason, don't tell the other 31 teams how to be great. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think anyone on any of the other teams are watching this. But if there's a GM from another team that's in this stream right now, I'd like a job.
One, how did you get here? What are you doing?
I'd like a job. Just kidding.
You're not kidding. We would take those jobs in a hot second.
Yeah. Why? Who would yours be? Would it be Snacks?
No, Timmy Jernigan. Kev took mine. But somebody, Snacks too. Like, I just feel like somebody needs help along the defensive line, and his name is Kenny Clark.
Martavius Bryant, someone asked.
That's a good one. That's a good question. But I mean,
no. He doesn't do it for me. Just like Robbie Anderson did not do it for me. Was not on the Robbie Anderson train.
Really? No. You were like the only person on Packers Twitter that wasn't. I mean, I was very indifferent, but I guess I didn't have like a strong stance. All right, Robbie Anderson or Devin Funchess? Because you were not happy about Devin Funchess, if I recall.
Devin Funchess. And I'm not saying that because we ended up getting him. I think like I think he fits better. I mean, we don't need, like, Robbie Anderson is basically MBS. You know? Like, we don't need another deep guy. And he was going to ask for so much money. It's like, we got Devin Funchess on a really good deal.
Okay, Kev said Taylor Gabriel, and I could still get behind that kind of.
I can get behind that, too.
Yeah.
That's one that I can get behind. Yeah. Tyler, this is the right answer. Yeah. I mean, Taylor Gabriel is interesting, and he's a different skill set. Yeah. But I don't know. We always forget about Tyler Ervin. Someone wrote about Tyler Ervin earlier.
I think it was Dave.
What do you think about him in the return game?
I mean, I think he's dynamic in the return game, but we talked about this, I think, even last week, that there's still something exciting about him on offense because you have Aaron Jones, you have Jamaal Williams, you have Aj Dillon. They're like, somebody in the chat called him the three-headed monster, and then you add Tyler Ervin, and it's suddenly a fourth head. Like, they're just every player in the Packers backfield. And we're assuming that's the starting four. That might not be. Yeah. I mean, I don't really see Dexter Williams sticking around. Taylor. I love Patrick Taylor. I think that he has a shot. I don't really see it being Dexter Williams, but if it is, Tyler Ervin is the fourth, which we think it is, unless somebody blows away the return game in training camp.
Maybe a rookie.
Those are all dynamic skill sets that your backfield now has, and Matt LaFleur has even more chess pieces. Like, thinking of all the different, offensive looks you can give with 21 personnel when you have, is it Aj Dillon and Jamaal Williams? Is it Aaron Jones and Aj Dillon? Is it Aaron and Jamaal? Is it Aaron and Tyler Ervin? Like, it's really exciting, I think.
I agree with you. Yeah. Get some Tyler Ervin jet sweeps going.
Mitsu's just said that he's far more versatile than jet sweep. So,
yes, I believe that. I trust that. Yeah, I think he's the kind of player that Matt LaFleur can use in an interesting way.
I have to ask: did you have a bottle opener on deck, or was that a twist? My girl. All right.
I came very prepared.
All right. Well,
okay, so we're kind of at the top of the hour. Somehow we made it all the way here. So, guys, welcome to your first happy hour. I thank you for all the questions. This was awesome. We got to get better at keeping up. I did not think it would be this difficult to track all the questions, but we will be here every Monday. Please follow Game On Wisconsin on Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We have a website. We have all these awesome content creators, writers. We have like a ton of podcasts coming up, lots of live shows. There's going to be a live show on Saturday. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Jacob's going to kill me if I don't talk about the live show on Saturday from 2 to 5 Lambeau time. So it's going to be really fun. It's going to be seriously like your one-stop shop for all things Packers. Really like we pretty much got together all these tons of amazing people. Yeah. Yes, Jason. Mega show on Saturday. I'm going to put that up there. Like all these awesome people that you probably follow on Twitter all together in one place to just talk Packers, and it's going to be awesome. So follow us on all.
There's going to be a lot of special guests on Saturday too. Eric Edholm will be there. Pete Bukowski will be there. Bryce Christensen from the Unknown Packers podcast will be there.
Yes.
Perri and I will be there at 2:30. We think.
Is that what time it is? Okay.
Lambeau time.
Thanks.
So 3:30 your time.
3:30 my time.
Yeah. So we'll be there. Yeah, but I mean, thank you so much. This was great. The Twitter is Game On WI. The website is also Game On WI. So make sure that you're not typing in the full Wisconsin, because some stupid company in Illinois bought the license for Wisconsin. Because
Illinois
ruins everything.
And if you want to follow Maggie and I personally, you can follow us at Perri_Goldstein and at Maggie J. Loney. We also podcast every week together, Packs What She Said. We're going on what number episode? 23?
23, the Jair episode. And we're going to talk about corners.
If you want to hear me get hype all over again. But yeah, so you can follow us every week on all streaming services, and we'll close this out with a Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go. Thanks for joining.